Ginger Toni has made disparaging comments about a lady who was a major figure in the Tommy movement, Dionne Moller, aka Secret Sources. We've seen this as a teachable moment, so we'll be breaking down this comment and drawing beneficial lessons and corrections for your edification. So that's the comment. We don't really want to read it out for you. We'll leave you to read that. One thing for sure is, it does not cover Ginger Toni in any glory, it just makes her out to be mean-spirited. First off, let's bring forth the reason for the antagonism. So a bit of context here. Back when Secret Sources was a Tommy follower, these folks used to champion the fact that they had a former police person supporting them. That was championed and heralded. They were really proud of that. Naturally, Secret Sources, being the sharp lady that she is, quickly realised that that movement was a sham, and then she began to criticise the movement. She announced that she was going to be leaving that movement, which all caused a massive stir, a seismic activity within the Tommy movement, which acted as a catalyst for a number of others to see through the movement and walk away. As you can imagine, a number of devotees, those who are still devoted, are going to hold a gripe, a grudge against Secret Sources for that. Misery loves company, and they lost a lot of company due to Dionne Moller leaving that movement. Before discussing this, it's important that you listen to this clip from the lady herself, Secret Sources. She sounds articulate and well-meaning in this clip. In fact, any reasonable person within the Tommy movement would applaud her for her sound comments here. It seems like she actually cares about the folks in the movement.
His name is Richard Inman, an ex-military man. And he is this guy who gets up on stage and shouts, "Where are all the English men? Why aren't you doing anything?" And he's quite a powerful speaker. But yesterday I saw a video of him as quiet as a lamb, really, telling Tommy Robinson's supporters that the next demonstration is actually cancelled because they fear reprisals from the police. You know, that's not what he was saying a couple of weeks ago when he made a video saying that getting arrested is part and parcel of this movement. So he seems to be flip-flopping. And looking at the comments to that video, and now I know he's disabled the comments to that video, but before he disabled them, people are furious. They've paid money, they've paid for train tickets and hotel accommodation to go down to this demonstration, and now this movement is...
So there you have it. She's willing to rebuke somebody like Mr. Inman because he's leading folks down the garden path to criminal records. That's not a good thing in anybody's book. I'd imagine there was a lot of jealousy too, as Secret Sources was one of very few women who was well spoken in that movement and who managed to garner a following of their own. On top of that, she was invited to speak on stage, which none of the other ladies within the movement ever got to do. Or ever get to do. I doubt Ginger Toni or the convicted fraudster Donna Sexton have ever done that. I don't think they've ever been invited on the stage to offer a speech. The most that they will ever get to do is wear a high-vis vest to do stewarding. Of course, it's the middle-aged women in those movements who cause the most drama. It was mainly the middle-aged women who used to repost my Facebook posts and those of my associates asking us to be unfriended by their fellow Tommy followers, all because we were being critical of Tommy and asking questions about the donations and what have you, or even at times for simply not being servile or deferential enough to Tommy the Führer. They acted as gatekeepers, deciding who was a bona fide Tommy devotee. In essence, they decided who entered the club or the cult. And woe betide to anybody who said a crossword to them. The drama they created was something else. But all in all, they wanted to feel important. That was the psychology behind it. That was their way of feeling important. And that's one of the reasons why these folks always have a picture of themselves with Mr. Robinson. It helps them feel important. So there's jealousy and there's a lot of melodramatic women in that movement who want to feel important. Secret Sources was actually important amongst the movement. That's the difference here. So a lot of the antagonism and bellicosity amongst female Tommy fans towards secret sources may well be born in part or in whole out of jealousy. Secret Sources is an ex-policewoman. She's got some levels of experience in investigations and detective-like thinking. We're anti-establishment here, but that does not mean that we label all police officers or former police officers as problematic, as the vast majority of them are just normal folks like us. They joined the force to try and improve the country and safeguard their community from wrong ones. So any investigation that she's carrying out is of interest to anybody who follows that movement, because she's got some skills which can actually help reveal certain things. So fair play to her for using those skills. Let's zone in on this focus on her shoes. Why is there even a focus on her shoes? Sure, Mr. Robinson may well have impressive shoes, but traditional people, those who are involved in collectivization, they focus on the content of somebody's mind and their character rather than what they wear, such as their shoes. This is a product of materialism and individualism, to focus on somebody's shoes or attire, cars and other material that they've got. Mr. Robinson certainly has the shoes, expensive ones at that, but does he have the character? I believe he does not.
No matter where I've gone in the world, I score.
Secondly, to call somebody an old witch is offensive to a number of people who donate to Tommy, because there's a lot of pensioners, or a number of pensioners out there, who do donate and keep good shoes on Tommy's feet and keep his tan topped up all year round. I recall seeing somebody commenting on Facebook back in the day on Danny Tomo's post, saying that she will donate to him once the pension comes through. Think about all the grandmas who have donated to the likes of Danny Tomo, Ezra Levant and Tommy. I don't think they will appreciate epithets like old witch. Laura Towler's grandma actually donated too.
Well, I mean, what happened to the documentary about grooming victims, which everyone donated to years ago?
He's starting that next month from what I'm hearing.
Okay, well, it will be interesting to see if that actually comes about, because my grandma actually donated to him for that documentary quite a long time ago.
Secret sources like her or loathe her, she is actually ladylike, and I would take umbrage at the horrible way in which Glenn Saffer was talking to young Kayla in a covert recording which was published online. At one stage he was even telling her that Ginger Toni is going to get her. Mr. Saffer did present Ginger Toni as very unladylike, blokish, mannish, or even fuggish. See the link below to listen to all that awful audio. Glenn Saffer is an older man who really should know better, but sadly in that movement, discernment does not even come with age. The comment about secret sources allegedly denying a sad occurrence that happened in the 1940s seems to be odd for somebody supposedly about free speech like Ginger Toni. Mr. Robinson claims to be about free speech. Ginger Toni, we understand, did the stewarding at the Hearts of Oak event in London as well as at their launch. Probably sans cost, all free of charge. She seems to be utterly oblivious to the fact that Hearts of Oak have platformed Ingrid Carlquist, a person who actually questions the same thing that secret sources allegedly questions. In addition, an early associate or helper of Hearts of Oak was a certain Simon Evans, who wants the freedom to question whether the 1940s horrific event actually took place, or at the very least he wants the freedom to question the numbers. On top of that, Hearts of Oak style themselves as pro-free speech, so Miss Ginger Toni would be better off having a go at Alan Craig and Peter McElvenney if she really takes umbrage at people questioning such like. I wouldn't be surprised if there's loads of Tommy fans out there who question that event or even disregard it, don't believe in it at all. What is fascinating, in today's Europe, folks can deny the existence of God quite freely and in many instances are encouraged to do so, but if an aspect of history from the 1940s is questioned, there's a prison sentence or dismissals from employment. There's no aspect of Muslim history which, if denied in Europe, then you end up losing your job or freedom. Can you imagine the outrage amongst the Ziosivnats and PayPal patriots if, say, the Bosnian genocide was denied and folks lost their jobs or even their freedom for it? The Ziosivnats and PayPal patriots would be holding demos all around Europe claiming it's Sharia. But not a peep comes out of them, seen as it's Brian of Tel Aviv's group involved. So Ginger Toni here assists us in highlighting the two-tier manner in which many PayPal patriots operate today, and the very fact that these folks aren't really all about free speech, despite organising and attending an event called Day of Freedom, styled as a free speech event. It's an excellent segue on to what Caolan Robertson said. Essentially, these folks use the notion of free speech to draw out support disingenuously, as they don't really support the idea of free speech. Here's Caolan Robertson's secret recording.
We should do a free speech march.
Nope.
No.
A free speech march. That's the gayest thing I've ever heard.
What are we going to do? Just shout?
No, the difference is,
walking around London.
Do you know why Thingy could be so? Why Thingy's so easy to get numbers?
Got the address.
Would be so easy to get numbers. Because you're not asking people to come out and protest against Islam. You're not asking people to protest against anything. You're asking people to come and show their face in support of free speech. Everyone can do that. Doesn't matter about your job. Doesn't matter about your career. You're not going to lose your job. No one's going to look down upon you. Your friends aren't going to hate you. I'm pro free speech.
They still will.
Some countries deserve free speech.
And for those taking notes, you may also want to avail yourself of Owen Benjamin's comments as to why he was deplatformed by Mr. Robinson himself, despite being scheduled to perform or speak at one of the rallies. Mr. Benjamin had mocked people who share the same faith as Avi Yemeni and Ezra Levant, etc. So he was deplatformed by Tommy's team. For them, there is a group which you just can't criticise or mock. Ask Shazia Hobbs. She got booted by Team Tommy for criticising that group. So much for free speech, eh? But the hypocrisy is immense. Ginger Toni's helped us highlight it. The comment that she's a local bike is a euphemism for being promiscuous. I doubt that to be the case. She's a mother, and I think she's married too. Why would you use such a horrible term and an unladylike term to describe another woman? We live in a society where young women are being told to turn to taking their kit off for simps on degenerate platforms like on OnlyFans, and we've got a generation of British women where hookup sites like Tinder have become normalised. Ginger Toni may want to spend her time on dealing with the establishment, which is actually teaching our young females to become local bikes. We don't really hear Tommy and other PayPal patriots speaking against liberalism and individualism, which has given rise to such a phenomenon. What's the matter? Can't you grift from speaking against what Mr. Griffin is saying is the biggest problem that society is facing today? Individualism.
The greatest weakness of all of Western European man is everybody thinks about me. Everybody thinks I. And we have to start getting into our people's heads that I and me have to go.
Or are Mr. Robinson's followers okay with their daughters being taught by society, by the establishment, to start using degenerate platforms such as OnlyFans and Tinder? Guaranteed, if it was Muslims pushing those degenerate sites, then the Ziosivnats would have something to say about it. That's guaranteed. Looks like the Ziosivnats don't really care about degeneracy being normalised in society as long as Muslims aren't doing it. As somebody who has followed the Facebook networks amongst Tommy fans, back in the day, I can speak of degeneracy among some of the ladies in those groups. I recall seeing a video of one female Tommy fan singing Tommy Tommy with a low-cut top on, where all the comments were about her assets rather than her singing ability, if you catch my drift. I recall seeing another one who went topless, covering her bits with her hands. On one of the hands she had written the word free, on the other it was Tommy. Both of those examples are examples of degeneracy. The middle-aged blokes who follow Tommy may have lapped all that up. They may have found that type of situation or that stuff titillating, that they may have found that to be normal. They need to give their heads a good wobble. Secret Sources has never involved herself in such degradation and downgrade. Jayda Fransen speaks well about the penchant for liberalism and individualism amongst the so-called patriots who are obsessed with one particular group, the Muslims.
The right wing, they don't even realise it, a lot of right wingers, but they are inherently socialists, right? They don't like Islam because Islam forbids, debauchery and degeneracy, right? They don't. That's what they don't. They don't like it because Islam doesn't. Too many times I've seen the argument that we like drinking beer and we like, women's boobs, and that's why we don't like Islam. They're just completely dumbed down. Not even an argument, just nonsense. That's why they don't like it. So, and they do see that. If Islam was removed, Islam is in opposition to many of the things that I'm in opposition to, right? If Islam was removed, then that frees the way for all of that degeneracy to continue and prosper and flourish.